Blue, you're my boy!
Okay, welcome to the super nerdy comparison between the different views available on the GoPro 11 Mini. In the last two videos, I decided I liked Superview at 4K 30 frames per second more than the HyperView at 5.3K 30 frames per second, and more than the Max Lens mod at 2.7K. The Superview at 4K just had better picture and better clarity than the other two options. But today, I'm going to test out HyperView at 4K, which is only available at 60 frames per second. So I'm going to film in 60 frames per second, although it's going to export to 30 frames per second. I'm also going to play around with the different stabilizations. I'm going to test both on and AutoBoost to see if that makes any difference at all. What I'm hoping to see is that on HyperView at 4K, that it'll actually have a little bit of a better picture to compare to that Superview at 4K. That HyperView at 5.3K, the picture just wasn't all that clear, and the colors were a bit off. Okay, here's moving to HyperView at 4K, 60 frames per second with the stabilization on AutoBoost. I'm actually really struggling on what view I like best. I keep getting drawn towards HyperView though. I really like the speed of the trail with that view. I know it really distorts the edges. Straight ahead on the trail, it's not so bad, but I don't know if that's something that's really going to bother me moving forward. But I do really like the crystal clear image that Superview gives. But every time I watch it, I just wish I had a little bit more field of view. So what I'm actually trying to do here is find a HyperView that the color isn't as bad as that 5.3K version to see if I can come up with something that is a happy medium. As far as the stabilization on AutoBoost and on, I think I would lean towards AutoBoost. I'm not noticing a big improvement in the picture quality on. I think with this type of usage, you really want maximum stabilization. So I think I'm gonna stick with AutoBoost as far as stabilization goes. So after watching all the footage with all the various settings, I've actually come up with a plan that I didn't think I was gonna land on. I'm gonna go up to 60 frames per second, both filming and exporting. I can't show you what fully 60 frames per second looks like because this is a 30 frame per second timeline, but I'm gonna put a link in the description down below and at the end of the video to those first two clips on this video filmed in 60 frames per second, but actually exported in 60 frames per second. I used to think that 60 frames per second slowed down the trail a lot, but in HyperView, that totally makes up for it and you still get that sense of speed. But the image looks a little better than when filming in 60 frames per second and exporting to 30. And I also think the color looks a little bit better than doing 5K at 30 frames per second in HyperView. So anyway, I never thought that I'd ever film in 60 frames per second. I was convinced that 30 frames per second kept that speed up on the trail, but my eyes just drawn to that clarity and the smoothness and the speed at HyperView at 60. So anyway, take a look at this video here and let me know what you think of HyperView at 60 frames per second. See you on the other side.